Now, what I suggest you do is this. Have yourself seated with your backs as straight as possible, but not stiff. And close your eyes. And simply become aware of all sounds that are going on, without making any special attempt to name them or identify them. Let the vibrations in the air play with your eardrums. Don't be uptight about coughing or shifting your position or sneezing. We are not very particular about what sounds, but just listen to the whole natural flow of sound as you would listen to music. And if you find that you can't help thinking about it, putting names on it, or supposing you can't stop vagrant thoughts about what you're supposed to do tomorrow, what somebody said to somebody, and so on, don't resist the flow of thought. Just let it join with the random sounds that you hear and regard it as a kind of interior noise. Don't bother about what it means. It helps to keep your tongues relaxed, floating easily in the lower jaw, and also to stop frowning. Be easy and relaxed in the space in the center of the forehead. And if I should say anything, attend rather to the sound of my voice than to the meaning of my words. Your brain will take care of understanding what I'm saying, and you don't need to worry about it. The brain is smarter than the mind. So you let go of your mind, let it think whatever it likes. Let go of your ears, let them hear whatever they like. And also, there's another way in which you're playing with the air, lungs. Let them breathe as they feel like breathing. Don't force anything. As the song says, I'm not sleepy and there is no place I'm going to. Where's your hurry? So the function of the gong. The gong is a compelling sound which might be said to be a unitive principle. And all these other sounds you now hear might be said to represent multiplicity, one and many. And you can, by listening to the gong really fade out, see how one turns into many. Most people breathe in a completely shallow way because they never really empty their lungs. And most people, when they do breathing exercises, don't accomplish much because they make too much effort. The effective energy, like, say, the energy of the ocean, always takes the path of least resistance. It follows gravity. So very gently would you try the experiment of allowing your breath to fall out. Let it go out in the same way as you would nestle yourself down into an extremely comfortable bed, where you sink in and in and in, and you let it flow out through your lips, so that you will know by the feel of air on your lips that you are really breathing and not just straining your muscles. And And at the point where the out-breath runs into any kind of discomfort, stop it. And let the in-breath return. Don't pull it back, but let it come back as a reflex. Or you could imagine that inside your neck is a big ball of lead, and you let that drop through your body, pushing the breath out as it goes, until it reaches the floor, at which point you let it fall to the center of the earth. Let the in-breath return and take another lead ball and drop that one. None of this breathing is supposed to have any symbolism or meaning. We are just breathing. In fact, we are just Of course, in this short space, I'm showing you things that might normally go on for a considerably longer time. But we can only sample tonight. We use another gimmick in meditation, in this meditation like we are doing now, where there's a certain emphasis on the sense of sound. It's called mantra. This is a really untranslatable Sanskrit word, which refers to the use of sound for its sound rather than its meaning, the use of certain syllables or phrases, on the principle of one is cured by a hair of the dog that bit you. Like cures like, homeopathy. So to be disenchanted or to break the spell of words, one uses certain words, like if you say over and over again the word yes, 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 yes. You begin to wonder why we use such a funny sound to represent an affirmative attitude. Yes. So in the same way, in India and Tibet and Buddhist countries in general, you will find that they use the syllables Om, Ah, Hung for purposes of meditating on sound, and especially useful if you don't happen to have a gong. Actually, the word Om is spelled out in Sanskrit, Ah, U, and thus comprises the whole range of sound from the back of the throat to the lips. It is therefore called the pranava, meaning the sound which represents the total energy of the universe, than which there is no whicher. But it isn't its meaning, it's its sound that is here important. Now, you can very easily pick this up and do it with me. Floating with these sounds on your easy falling out breath. It's important to let the sound sing itself and not have the feeling that you are making it happen. It's as if you were a flute and the breath is making a note through you. And you will find that the more you have that feeling, the greater will be the energy of the sound. The use of mantra is not always on slow, prolonged sound. It also uses a kind of repeated melody. Most of you may be, or many of you may be familiar with this one, which you can pick up again very quickly. It goes like this. And now see how you feel. Don't put words on it. Just feel. But again, if you can't help words running in your head, don't interfere with it. The form of mantra is also used in the West, or at least in the more traditional forms of Jewish, Islamic and Christian practice, as it's found in Eastern Europe and the Levant. There's a school of Muslim mystics called Sufi, and they are a sort of Muslim equivalent of Indian Vedanta, practicing the realization of union with God. Of course, their Arabic word for God is Allah. And they do a rather surprising mantra, which is like this, which you can very easily do. And it has the function of all these mantras, to quote Keats, "They tease us out of thought as doth eternity," in a more or less Christian tradition. There's also Christian mantra, could equally be Jewish, but it is in the form of what is called the Byzantine tradition of chanting. This, in common with Hindu music, preserves the notion of what is called a drone. That is to say, a constant sound, as of the tambura in the Hindu orchestra, against which the melody, over which the melody floats. So in the Byzantine chant, where in the Eastern churches they don't use musical instruments, so the tonic is a hum. Over that the melody is laid, and what I suggest we do is this. First of all, we do a certain variation on it, which is rather interesting. I want everybody silently to imagine a sound, a note, which seems to be convenient and comfortable to you. Then after a while, when we feel we've got it, we'll hum it out loud. I will then drop the melody of the chant over that. Some of you will find it possible to harmonize a melodic theme that fits the basic melody. Others of you will prefer to stay on the drone, the tonic. But the important thing, I repeat, about this kind of chant is that it's quite different from the ordinary religious exercise that, say, we have in our churches, where we are interminably talking and thinking. And we never get to contemplation. We're always advising God what to do as if he didn't know, or listening to exhortations, or singing hymns. And so all that discursiveness prevents us from getting into the heart of the vibration, which is sound, and which is, of course, the real meaning. The opening of the Gospel of St. John, in the beginning was the Word, doesn't mean in the beginning was chatter. So feel your sound first, quite silently. Just let it flow. Don't push it. Now hum it out loud. Louder.